Introducing the brand new 2008 Mini Cooper S to the channel here. What's up everybody, Subaru fan here for Mini Weekly Update number 10 on this Friday. Back in the car, so I'm feeling a lot better, from my mono. I'm probably, I'd say about 95% back to normal, so I'm going to try and start getting into some car reviews here, hopefully doing one this weekend and another one next week, so I'll be getting back into all that stuff. So I know there hasn't been any new videos since the last weekly update, so I'm sorry about that. Like I said, just kind of focusing on recovering and getting better. I feel like I'm pretty close to being back to normal now, so yeah, anyways, new stuff with the Mini. Well, again, I'm starting to drive it more, racking up some miles here, and I actually scheduled my first service for this car, and it's going to be this upcoming Tuesday. So basically, if you watch the in-depth tour of the Mini that I did, you'll notice that I mentioned in that video that the tire pressure monitoring light was on because the TPMS system is inactive because of a bad sensor. I bought the car that way, but I have a warranty with the car, and so the warranty is now in effect, so I can go to the dealership and have them fix that for free. So that's cool. They'll be fixing that, and also I'm getting ready to need an oil change here in about 1,000 miles or so, so I'm going to have them do an oil change as well at the dealership. I know for those of you that own Minis or know about Minis, oil changes are extremely expensive on the R56 because they have to move I think it's the windshield washer fluid tank. You have to move that and take a bunch of stuff apart just to get access to changing the oil, which is kind of annoying. So they're doing all that. I think from what I heard, oil changes cost like $160 for this car, which might make a bunch of people go crazy. But then again, you only have to do an oil change once every, I think, 10,000 miles in these cars. Some people do it sooner, some people do it later, but at least you don't have to do it every 3,000 miles or something. In the future, though, I'm probably going to try and do them myself, just because, right now I just, with my sickness and everything, I need an oil change and I can't wait, and I'm just going to have them do it. It's whatever. But in the future, I'd like to maybe I'll do a little tutorial on how to change oil in a Mini once I figure it out for myself. So yeah, so we're going in for that service, and yeah, so that's about it as far as the Mini goes, though. It's still running perfectly. It's doing great. So I know it's not very exciting. It's not like I had a ton of issues like with fighting the condensation every week in the BRZ, but this is good. This means that it's uneventful. It's not breaking down. It's not flipping out. I'm not having a million electrical problems or anything. So I'm glad that I have nothing to report. So anyway, I'll send it back to the news desk for this week's news. Right, so for this week's news, the first thing is just last week I was telling you guys, don't believe all these rumors about the BRZ being axed and this car being killed off and everyone hating and da-da-da-da. That's all BS, and it's just been proven this week because they questioned the Fuji Heavy Industries executive. This guy, Fuji Heavy Industries, they own Subaru and a crap load of other stuff. They own a ton of companies. They're huge. So this guy is even above everybody at Subaru. And they questioned him about this whole idea of Toyota working with BMW for a second generation 86. And he's like, this is his quote: "If I were to be told that, I'd pass out. It's not going to be just one generation." And this guy is way high up in Fuji Heavy Industries. So he's the president of the company. Said, look, this is going to happen. So even if Subaru of America doesn't want it, even if the dealers don't want it, even if Subaru of Japan doesn't want it, Fuji Heavy Industries, which owns them, the president of that company says, we are doing a second generation. So whether or not anybody likes it or what else is going on, this is going to happen. As long as Toyota is willing to play ball and not just totally going to screw over Subaru and say, sell off their stake and everything else. Unless there's some catastrophic breakup between Toyota and Subaru, this car is going a second generation. Even if Toyota does leave, it looks like he would just continue the BRZ on its own as a totally separate car. So there will be a second generation BRZ. And some not so good news though, we were kind of wondering about the Evo 10 and whether or not they're going to keep building it. Mitsubishi said they're not really going to do a successor. They're not interested in performance sedans at this point or anything. We just didn't know when the Evo is going to get killed off officially, but it looks like Jalopnik's reporting now that Mitsubishi is saying that the 2015 model year is the last year. After 2015, it'll be dead. So I think they're going to start building 2015s here this month, starting, and they'll probably continue building them until early next year sometime, and then the Evo will officially be dead. You won't be able to buy a new one from that point on, which is really sad, but it does give you a whole year. So you have a whole year to buy a brand new one, so save up your pennies quickly, and I mean, I'm sure there'll be plenty of stock for a while, even after they discontinue them, but yeah, so pretty crazy, and this makes me appreciate Subaru continuing their dedication to the WRX and STI. It might not be what everyone wanted, or it might not fulfill your entire wish list, but at least Subaru's continuing to, refine the car and improve it and update it. Because Mitsubishi, they're just leaving all their fans hanging. They're saying, sorry, we haven't updated the Evo 10 in several years, and they don't even care. They're just killing it off and going and making other electric cars and things like that that are not very exciting to the enthusiasts. So, very sad to hear that. Another car that's getting killed off, probably not quite as sad, is the Nissan Cube, which was their attempt at making a Scion XB. Never really was a super hot seller, and very funky styling, and it's officially dead for 2015. So, you can get a 2014. That's sitting around on a lot, but they're not making any new ones. Can't say that's a big surprise. We reported earlier, I think, that they stopped making them for Canada, and so it was no wonder that we'd be soon after. So no more Nissan Cubes. I'll spare my tears. Next, though, is some interesting rumors, and this is saying that Jaguar is working on a lighter F-Type that uses the powertrain from the CX-75, which is that crazy hypercar concept that they had a couple years ago that would have been perfect to compete against the 918, the LaFerrari, the P1, all that kind of stuff. But Jaguar doesn't have as deep of pockets as all those big brands, and so they decided to just keep the CX-75 as a concept, sadly. But the powertrain was pretty realistic, and apparently there's reports here saying that they're developing this powertrain and they'd use it as a lighter F-Type performance model. So it would have a 1.6 liter 4-cylinder engine that also has a turbocharger and supercharger, and it would deliver around 500 horsepower from this little 4-cylinder. It's like, insane. And obviously having a little 4-cylinder would make this car a whole lot lighter than the standard V8 F-Type, which is very nose heavy, and even lighter than the V6, which from what I hear is a pretty balanced car. I test drove one briefly last year, but it wasn't pushed very hard, but it felt great. With a little 4-cylinder up front there with 500 horsepower, though, talk about insane performance. That's pretty crazy, but with a crazy powertrain like that, it might even have some hybrid stuff going on. That's probably going to be the top of the line F-Type, even though it's a 4-cylinder, and it would probably cost a lot if you're going to have this concept car style, engine and stuff in it. I mean, that's going to be an expensive car, but hey, go crazy with the F-Type. I don't care what they do, just all these sweet new versions, they can't go wrong. In some more exciting news, there's a rumor here. Now, don't get excited yet, because this is a rumor, so take it with a large amount of salt, but this is saying that Porsche is making a 988 Ferrari rival. They want to get in and compete against the 458 and the Lamborghini Huracan, which is also made by the Volkswagen parent company. Lamborghini and Porsche are under the same umbrella. So Porsche fighting with Lamborghini is a little iffy. I mean, they're saying this is a Ferrari rival, so they're clearly aiming at the Ferrari, not at the Lamborghini, but it's obviously going to compete with the Lamborghini if it's the same kind of style car. And they're saying that this is going to be a mid-engine car, so proper supercar. It's going to have a flat 8 engine. So that is really sick. I was thinking they would just use the V8 engine out of the Porsche 918, but this is saying a flat 8, which is really going to be sick. And they're saying it could even use a hybrid power plant, nothing quite as crazy as the 918. They're saying maybe 600 horsepower for this car, which is right in line with the 458 Speciale and stuff like that. And the Huracan, of course, the LP610. So, very exciting to hear this. I don't know, they're saying this car can come around 2017, so not too far off either. That'll be right whenever the new 458 car, whatever it's called, the 470 or whatever, whenever that comes out, and the Huracan will probably be close to a little mild refresh at that point too. they're saying this car is going to be right there with it. And other Porsche news that's also maybe even more exciting for those of us that aren't millionaires, there's also rumors here that there's going to be a baby Porsche Roadster. And they're saying, because we've been seeing these Boxsters with 4-cylinder engines testing around the Nürburgring and stuff like this and wondering what's going on. Most people just thought they're just going to make a cheaper, like a Boxster, but just have a cheaper engine in it, have a new entry-level model. This is saying, though, that it's going to be a whole new car, that it's going to be below the Boxster, and it's just going to be more affordable, and that it's going to have this 4-cylinder engine, but it's not going to be slow. They're saying it could have anywhere between 285 and 360 horsepower. So, a very sick car. They'd say it would even ride on the same wheelbase as the Boxster. It would just be smaller, which makes it better. I feel like it could dethrone the Boxster, especially if you can get up to 360 horsepower in it. I mean, I feel like they would have to keep this way lower horsepower so it didn't, trample all over the Boxster, because that's totally possible. If it's a smaller, more lightweight car, they're claiming it's going to be called the 718, which is a 1950s race car. They're going to revive that name. Who knows if that's true? Who knows if any of this is true? They're saying they want to compete against the Alfa Romeo 4C, which, I mean, from what I hear is a cool car, but it's definitely a little more hardcore. Hopefully this will be a little more comfortable. Some people are worried that, if they make a Roadster that's maybe 40 grand or something, that it would water down the brand too much. In which case, Jalopnik makes a very good point and says, well, look at the Cayenne, the Panamera. They've already kind of diluted the brand. You're making SUVs and sedans now, so it's not like they're only a sports car company. Making a cheaper sports car, I mean, it's not a bad thing. Look at Mercedes. They decided to go cheap with the CLA, sub $30,000 starting point, and they're selling like hotcakes. Could you imagine if Porsche put out a car that was $35,000 or $40,000 brand new? I mean, there'd be a line out the door. So I think this is a brilliant idea, and if Porsche hasn't been seriously considering this, they should now, even after this report, this rumor, because that would be spectacular. And I'd like to think that I would be in the financial position whenever this comes out to definitely pick one up myself. That would be a sweet car for sure. More interesting power plants. Everyone's doing these crazy power plants these days. Even Volvo, they just revealed a 400 horsepower twin-charged partial zero emissions power plant for the new XC90 SUV. So this, it's pretty interesting. I mean, it's actually it's going to be called a T8 engine, but it's going to be using a 2-liter 4-cylinder with both a supercharger and a turbocharger. Sound like the Jag power plant a little bit, same basic thing. Made it to a plug-in hybrid assist system, which is going to have, so total horsepower output is 400 with 472 foot-pounds of torque. And this is just for their SUV. I mean, I think they're going to have more slower versions, in Europe and possibly here in America too. They're going to have 190 horsepower diesel and a 225 horsepower 5-cylinder turbo diesel and stuff like that. But 400 horsepower in this Volvo SUV. I mean, even Volvo is going for crazy horsepower numbers. I can't believe it. What I think Volvo needs to do, though, is take this power plant, drop it out of the XC90, and put it into that sexy two-door coupe concept that they were considering. They, put out several months ago. A 400 horsepower Volvo coupe that looked like that concept. Winning, 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 winning. That's what they need to do. I mean, SUVs are cool and all, but I think it'd be way more exciting in a two-door sports car. Another interesting bit of news, lots of interesting stuff this week, and this is that Mercedes is considering doing a Maybach. You know how they're doing a Maybach version of the S-Class, they're going to bring back the Maybach name. Well, now they're saying that they might make a Maybach version of the Mercedes GL, which is obviously the top-of-the-line huge SUV that Mercedes makes. And so obviously they're only doing it with the top-of-the-line cars. Don't expect to see a Maybach C-Class. But a Maybach version of the GL, I think it could be an ultra-luxury SUV. It could be a quick fighter to the Bentley SUV that's coming out, and possibly the Rolls-Royce one if that ever comes out and sees the light of day. So this could be a quick competitor to the new Bentley, which is almost ready to go. And also, I mean, this whole segment's heating up, because there's going to be the Lamborghini Urus is coming out, I think, in 2017. I don't know how much that's going to cost. Probably more than 200 grand or so, like the Bentley. But there's going to be all these hyper SUVs coming out pretty soon. It's going to be pretty wild. So, pretty crazy. Another little bit of sad news is the Dodge Viper plant has been idled again. No one's buying Vipers. I mean, from the stuff I've heard, I haven't driven the new Viper, but from the things I've been hearing, there's just so many really good cars in that price bracket that the Viper's just a really tough sell unless you're really old school and like the the rougher, harder to drive kind of stuff. So they're saying that it should be back online, the plant, in about 2 weeks or so. but they're just really, they can't even sell the stock they have. So, it's kind of tough for them to build new ones. I think they need to do something with the Viper. I mean, not that it's bad the way it is, but clearly it's not appealing to buyers. There's just something about it that doesn't do it for people anymore. I don't know, maybe, I mean, they said, someone suggested whenever the Hellcat was announced, last week, they should put the Hellcat engine in the Viper. And apparently the SRT CEO or whatever was like, we thought about it already, it would take lots and lots of engineering. But that lots and lots of engineering might be what they have to do to save the Viper. I know it would be a supercharged V8, not a V10, but, I mean, that might be sacrilege to Viper fans, but they got to do something to spice this car. Maybe throw that supercharger on the V10 and go nuts or something. I don't know what they need to do. I mean, Dodge is a bold enough brand. I think they could get away with just about anything. So go crazy with the Viper. Go absolutely bonkers. You can't lose. No one's really buying them right now. So anything you do will probably help the sales. So just do something to it. I mean, I don't know what, but something. Because it'd be really sad to see the Viper get killed off. Last bit of news is, several weeks ago, I showed you some spy pictures of the John Cooper Works version of the new Mini Cooper S running around on the track. And, it just has the same typical body kit. I mean, no big surprises here. The interesting thing, though, is, the John Cooper Works was always a little bit quicker, but it wasn't a massive jump up in power. But this is saying that now it's actually going to have a pretty healthy bump. So the current Mini Cooper S, the new one that just came out, had 189 horsepower. They're saying that this new John Cooper Works version could have 230, which should make it properly quick. I think that would probably keep up with a WRX, or pretty close to it, because it's, lighter weight and everything. They're saying it would also have 285 foot-pounds of torque, which is more than a WRX and stuff. So, I mean, this could be pretty quick little car, so that's a big, healthy improvement. But the sad thing is, you're not going to be seeing this for a little while, not till next year, because they're saying that they're not even going to debut the production version until the 2015 Detroit Auto Show, which is in January, and then sales will probably be next summer or something like that. So, hang on to your money for right now, but whenever it comes out, it should be a pretty good improvement over the standard Cooper S. No word on the pricing, it'll probably be pretty pricey, close to 35 or 40 grand is my guess, but still a very cool little package. So yeah, that's it for all the news this week, guys. So I'll send it back to me in the car. Alright, so roll the windows down, and I'll leave you guys with a nice little acceleration here in sport mode. I always do. Got some second gear chirp that time. It's quick. I do enjoy having the additional torque of the turbo. It's one thing I don't miss about the BRZ, although I have been missing the BRZ a lot recently, mostly I think because of its great handling and, the rear-wheel drive. Front-wheel drive, it's okay, but it's my last choice as far as powertrain's concerned. I'd rather have rear-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. Front-wheel drive, just not the most fun, but the Mini is still a very fun car. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next week. Take care.